I'm very happy to have another young Indian with us, part of the Voice of the Young segment. Hello, everyone. Good to be back. Right now, we have with us Riya Mariam Varghese. Let's listen to her. Over to you, Riya.
Good morning, sir. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity, and I'm very grateful to be on this platform. A brief background about me. I'm Riya Mariam Varghese. I did my bachelor's in economics from University of Delhi, India. And like a lot of students who might have come on this platform, I was also a COVID student. So more than 50% of my degree, 3-year degree, was online. And the impact that it had was such that I was completely lost and I had no idea what I was doing with this degree. I had no idea how I would proceed further with, this knowledge that I've apparently gained from a Google Meet platform. So thankfully, the last few semesters, the fifth and sixth semester was offline, and I had great subjects like development, political economy, and international trade, which helped me understand the kind of field in economics that I want to specialize in, which was development based. Um, Post my bachelor's, I applied for graduate studies in India, in USA, and UK. My parents had really encouraged me to pursue masters outside of India, as there are greater opportunities, more exposure that you get when you study from institutions in the US, in the UK, because of the kind of exposure that students there are provided. Right. So right now I'm pursuing my master's at George Washington University in Washington, D.C. And it's been a whirlwind, but it's great. There are different teaching methods. It's a very, very rigorous course, and my technical skills have been upgraded, exponentially. So there's a huge course load, but I'm enjoying it thoroughly because the way they teach, the way they test you through different assignments, the way there's continuous assessment, it really incentivizes you to stay to date with all the relevant updates in your field. It forces you to stay up to date with the kind of statistical testing methods that are there in this field, and it allows you to widen and broaden your horizons as an economics student. And right now, I'm also working as a research assistant at my university for a professor, and I'm also working as a grading assistant for an undergraduate econometrics class. The reason why I chose United States, especially Washington, D.C., was because of the kind of exposure. This place, this capital, is like the hub of economic policy making, and the plethora of opportunities that I get, I probably would never get otherwise. And that's the reason why I decided to choose this university, this location. Um, the way I stumbled into economics, however, is a funny story because it was purely by accident. Um, so in India, during my high school, I was what one would call a science stream student. So, however, with my combination, like physics, chemistry, maths, I also had economics, which allowed me to get some sort of exposure to the subject before I pursued a degree in it. I was a former engineering aspirant and very much a victim of the engineering entrance exam coaching culture. But many failed attempts at the entrance exams, engineering entrance exams, led me to realize that I'm not really cut out for that path. And therefore, I took up economics since I had it in my 11th and 12th grade as well. I decided to pursue a degree in it, and best decision I made because I ended up pursuing a career exactly how I had envisioned my future to look like, okay, or close to what it was. I pursued an academic path that I had always, wanted to. I had always wanted to pursue policy making, basically. And a degree in economics is ideal because it's a very interdisciplinary subject. It talks about politics, it talks about in trade, it talks about health. There's health economics. It has a lot of intersection with sociology and anthropology. So this varied understanding of the subject allows you to grasp the basics of other subjects as well, and it really widens your horizons as a student or as an economist if you are one by profession. So, my reason for pursuing masters, however, was simply to equip myself with analytical skills that I needed to analyze and quantify and actually solve the problems that I'm seeing and reading about. So I'm really interested in the field of international development and economic policy, and I want to advocate for the research I pursue in this field, and I hope to progress further in the same. But however, I'm also keeping a very open mind about doing roles outside of academia and research. So I would like to work as an analyst at, let's say, economic consulting firms to understand dynamics of what one would call a public-private partnership model or a PPP model, because it really helps in helping social impact policies widen the way it affects people. So government policies can really be impacted by if private partners also step into the field and help them get it done, right? So this is what my trajectory so far has looked like, and this is what I want it to look like in the future.
Well, that's great. So, what this offline undergraduate, where were you living at that time?
So I was staying in Delhi itself.
Okay.
So since I did my bachelor's from University of Delhi, I did lived in Delhi, and I pursued it
Okay.
happily
So, so was your
from there.
schooling also in Delhi? Is that what is?
My schooling was also in Delhi. I went to Sanskriti school
Okay.
in New Delhi,
Okay.
and
So you are basically though Malayali, but you are basically from Delhi, right?
yes, I am. I am.
All
The
right.
reason for that is my father is a naval officer in the Indian Navy, so he keeps moving around. So I've changed 9 schools, close to
Wow.
9 schools.
But they
So
have
I've had a
central
very,
school. They have central schools these days, right?
sorry, central school.
It's easy to change the school because they're
Yeah,
roughly.
yeah.
Yeah.
The Board of Education is somewhat similar, so
Yeah.
it's easy to change schools. Um,
Hmm.
so I've moved around a lot. I've stayed in a lot of places, grown up in a lot of places. So a question like where are you from really does give me a little bit of an existential crisis because I don't know where I'm from all around.
All right. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good. So, but have you enjoyed all these moves and so on?
I actually do. I actually did.
Yeah.
It can get a little bit annoying because you have to pack up and leave
Yeah.
a life that you built in a certain place, but it gives you dynamism and it gives you exposure. So you learn to adapt.
But the last few years were in Delhi, right?
The last few years were in Delhi, so
Okay.
I did my schooling and then my undergraduate
So those
degree
are
from
critical
Delhi.
years. That's really very critical,
Yeah,
these
yeah,
3, 4, 5 years. Good. So,
yes.
but you said you were lost in
Hmm.
the COVID time. But most of the students I've talked to have said that they took advantage of that spare time and they did things. What about you? Tell us.
Oh yeah, so I one thing that I would want listeners, especially who would be, young undergrad students watching this video, is to take away the importance of upskilling yourself. So when I say I was lost, it was more in terms of what am I going to do after this. But there's a need to, sort of leverage the kind of time and the opportunities that you had at that COVID time. So because your classes are online, you don't have to travel anywhere. You have a lot of free time to yourself. So upskilling yourself is a very important target that a lot of undergrad students need to, especially everybody basically needs to, work on. Undergraduate, especially in economics, can be a very confusing space, especially for somebody who did not plan it from the beginning. And I just came into it as a last minute resort. It's a very confusing space because you're taught everything. You're taught macroeconomics, growth models, international trade and development, to things like public economics, taxation,
Mhm.
welfare economics, and political economy. So it did take a lot of research from my end, a lot of internships, and many conversations with peers and seniors to actually understand what I would want to do. So, firstly, I would begin with internships. I completed 3 internships during the course of my 3-year degree. So, one internship for each year, each academic year, maybe you can think of it that way. So, more than 50% of my course was online, as I had said, but I'd constantly been advised by seniors and professors to look for internships and any opportunity to get a head start. And the first internship that I did was at a place called Unico, and it's a sustainability-based organization that creates eco-friendly products for daily use. So they have eco-friendly speakers, they have eco-friendly pens and pouches, and they also employ members from disenfranchised communities. So that space, even though, and I was working as a content writer over there, so even though it was not exactly what I'm doing right now, that space really helped me understand what it's like, what team effort looks like, what meetings look like, what achieving deadlines look like. And That internship was very important for me to understand, even if this is not what I want to do, at least I know what I don't want to do, you know.
Yeah.
And so it helps you clear out a few things for, your immediate future. Post which, there was also a research paper course that I was pursuing. So it was by an NGO called Project Up in partnership with UNESCO, New Delhi. And it helped you understand the basics of research and how to write a research paper or a research article. And that course is very helpful because my degree is also very research based. It's not just quantitative, but there's also qualitative research that is equally necessary in this field. So, upskilling yourself in that field is also extremely important. So, my research paper was about the evolution of women-led MSMEs, or micro, small, and medium sized enterprises, and the challenges that they faced. And that made me realize that I want to do research on the economics of gender, really look at feminist economics. And I delved further into that. So I was reading about, pieces written by Devki Jain, by Esther Duflo, and all of these feminist economists who understand this field even better. Um, Post this, I worked as a co-editor for my annual economic outlook for my college, and I polished up my research and editorial skills. I was leading a large team of writers for the magazine, and that helped me work on my administrative skills. And again, it did provide me with connections to people in the industry, professors, and I got an idea of how things work when you publish something, when you
Mhm.
publish it in a journal, the differences. Um, my second internship was at a think tank called Center for Civil Society, and that I worked on education policy in STEM institutes in India. So I was understanding how research and development has progressed in these institutions, and how it has evolved,
Mm.
and is it getting any better? And I realized that R&D in especially in STEM institutes in India is quite low, and you need to increase the innovative output of these institutes to have tangible impact,
Mhm.
and provide more exposure to the students studying in these institutes. So this internship was definitely uh, instrumental in helping me uh, understanding what I like in economics, which is development. So definitely something about development, education,
Mm.
and health.
Mm.
I was also the women's development president, sales president for my college. And it was a pivotal role. I held a number of seminars and reading circles where we would discuss research papers instead of, books. We would sit and analyze research papers. So a research paper that we did, first one was about the trivialization of aggression, physical and mental violence against women, and in India. Uh, this helped me um, understand what it's like to understand different people's viewpoints and analysis of a research paper, and also disseminate the kind of information and knowledge I had gained through my courses to my peers and to my juniors. And this role really helped me get a head start on, as I said, the economics of gender. My final internship in my final year was in my sixth semester, especially, was with a member of Parliament of India, Dr. Amar Patnaik. And again, this is a very important internship because I wrote and researched on variety of social issues. And this really broadened my understanding of the real development problem of my country, since I'd gotten access to so much more information about schemes and various government programs in different areas. So now I was not just asking questions about why does poverty exist, but why does poverty exist in this particular state, in this particular panchayat, and why does a neighboring panchayat have different rates of, development, and what is it that they're doing differently. So this micro analysis was something that I got access to, and I polished up, the skills for the same through this internship. So what I'm basically trying to say is the kind of time that I had in this, uh, in this, let's say, COVID era, was definitely confusing mentally, because you were communicating with professors who are supposed to be your mentors through a screen, and that's there's a gap that comes about through that. You become disinterested in like subjects that you're learning, because there's only so much you can attend. There's only so much attention span that you have, especially when it's being done through a laptop, right? So leveraging the time that I had, and the opportunities that I had, and the kind of courses that are being conducted, around me, be it through NGOs, be it through some online course platforms, was really important and very instrumental in helping me get where I am. So these experiences um, were important, and as something that I would suggest all undergrad students to work on. It doesn't have to be the same trajectory. It doesn't have to be internships in research roles. As I said, internship can be a make or break. So even if you understand that this is something that you don't like, at least you know what you don't want to do. It helps you really just clear out the kind of path which is kind of confusing, especially at this stage. And looking back, I wish I had, pushed myself a little more to gain some more technical skills like coding, statistical testing, etc. Because coming to the US, the exposure, as I said, is very different, and they really require you to know and perform high level data analysis and interpret each and every line of your code very efficiently. So you have to be a very efficient data analyst, you have to be a very efficient data scientist and an economist when you're doing projects. And maybe upgrading on, let's say, courses like um, working on courses like Python, Stata would have helped me sort of um, do better, or maybe not work like really hard on the projects that been given, because I was a little lost. So yeah, this is something that I would stress and advise young students to pursue.
Okay, wonderful. What is your own future as you see it?
Right. So, as I said, anything that gets me into the space of international development would be a great start. But I also said that I'm very keen to, economic consulting roles. So here's the thing. I just finished my first semester and it's been wonderful. It really broadened my perspective. But at the beginning of the semester, I was hell bent on, oh, I have to score internships and I have to do work, research work in the field of this kind of development only, or in this kind of, format only. However, after attending a number of career fairs, after talking to very well-renowned professors in this field, after talking to a lot of my peers and my, seniors, I realized that I might have an interest in, let's say, other fields of economics as well. Um, and now I'm starting to look at things. Every research paper I read, I try to see what is it that ignites a spark in my brain? What is it about that piece? It's a book. What is it about it what are the points about it that really makes me passionate about the research that they're talking about? I realized that I really like health economics, and particularly because I'm reading a book called Love in the Time of AIDS in South Africa. So it talks about gender inequality and rights in South Africa, and it's a wonderful book. So I'm thinking maybe that's also a field I can explore. So what I'm trying to say is the first semester was great, and I'm looking forward to the next one as well. And I'm trying to keep track of what I can do to make my time here right now more fruitful for the future. So instead of looking at future opportunities objectively, I'm trying to like cross the bridge when it comes and be
Okay.
fully equipped to cross that bridge when it comes.
All right. Okay, I
Yeah.
get the point. All right. Anything else you want to add here?
Um, I just, I don't think I want to add anything in particular. I think that I've really talked about most of what I want to talk about. But yeah, upskilling yourself, working on courses, and really pushing yourself, especially in undergrad, is important because when you come into when you do your undergraduate studies, you come in with a lot of lot of energy, a lot of enthusiasm for that subject. You're like, oh, I'm learning economics. This is what I want to do. I want to be RBI governor. That's the kind of mentality you come with. But then what people don't understand is undergrad is not a space where you learn how to do make policy, but it's a space where you start with the basics of economics, and it can be very boring, it can be very tedious, and it can be very confusing, as I said. So it's necessary to push yourself beyond the academic curriculum of your institution by doing internships, by doing courses, by talking to people, having conversations with your seniors and your professors, choosing a senior to be your mentor. And because if they what they do really interests you, go ahead, have a conversation with them. And following that path really helps you clear out that maybe I'm not equipped enough in undergrad, maybe I can do a job, maybe I can do a master's, maybe I can do a PhD. And it undergrad is just a space to figure out what you want to do, um, rather than trying to do what you want to do right then and there itself. So yeah.
Okay. All right. Wonderful. That's a very good piece of advice for young people.
Yeah.
That classes are not enough.
Yeah.
need to step outside the class and see what drives you, what is driving the world, and so on. Okay, very
Yeah.
good. All right, let's see whether we catch up with you in a year to see how you're doing. Till then,
Absolutely.
let's say bye to the viewers. I'll be back with another young person or an expert soon. Bye, everybody.
Thank you.